Los Angeles sparkles at night, its dazzling lights painting the city in a radiant glow. Yet in its hidden corners, secrets quietly linger, waiting to be uncovered. Ethan Caldwell, a single-dad millionaire, strides through the glittering streets of opulence, his heart weighed down by a profound loneliness. At 35, this billionaire has it all. A towering tech empire, a lavish mansion, and the admiring gazes of the masses. But what drives a man like him, a single-dad millionaire, to silently test the kindness of a stranger? In a humble diner, Ethan crosses paths with Emma Harper, a waitress whose genuine smile radiates a rare warmth that pierces the night. Is her kindness true, or merely a facade? A journey brimming with mystery and raw emotion unfolds, where love and truth intertwine in gripping, dramatic tension. Follow our channel to dive into this captivating love story. What is Ethan searching for, and how will Emma transform him? Don't miss out. In a quiet corner of suburban Los Angeles, the Moonlight Diner sits unassuming, its soft neon lights casting a hazy glow over vinyl booths. The air is simple, laced with the faint aroma of coffee and the hushed murmurs of late-night patrons. Ethan Caldwell, a 35-year-old single-dad millionaire, steps inside, his polished demeanor striking in an expensive tailored suit. He's a billionaire, the master of a tech empire, owner of a lavish mansion, and a fleet of gleaming cars. But behind his steely gaze, his heart bears the scars of solitude. As a single-dad millionaire, Ethan is no stranger to fake smiles and handshakes driven by self-interest. He yearns for something real, a connection untainted by money or power. But does true kindness even exist in this world? He wonders, his eyes scanning the room. Ethan chooses a booth by the window, a spot where he can observe without drawing attention. Other patrons chat lively, but he remains silent, as if searching for an answer in the dim light. Then she appears. Emma Harper, a young waitress with her hair tied high and a radiant smile that lights up the diner. Her name tag glints under the glow, and the way she greets him stops him cold. No hesitation, no pretense. She treats him like any other customer. "Hi, what can I get started for you today?" she asks, her voice gentle yet brimming with life. Ethan offers a faint smile, but inside, a spark of doubt flickers. Is this kindness genuine, or just a performance to charm a tip from a wealthy man like him? He orders a black coffee and toast, but his mind is elsewhere. Ethan has lived too long in a world of shady deals and hollow promises. His wealth, once a source of pride, now feels like a wall separating him from humanity. As a millionaire dad, he pours love into caring for his daughter, Lily, but even fatherhood can't fill the void in his heart. He's seen too much betrayal, from business partners, friends, even those who claimed to love him. All wanted a piece of his fortune. And now, in this small diner, he decides to test the world once more. A simple but profound challenge. Does kindness exist, or is it just an illusion? When Emma brings his coffee, Ethan deliberately leaves his wallet on the table, right by the edge of his cup. The sleek leather gleams, a few $100 bills peeking out, impossible to miss. He stands, pretending to head to the restroom, but his eyes never leave Emma. His heart races, not from fear of losing money. For a single-dad millionaire, a few $1,000s is nothing. But because he's chasing truth. Will she take the wallet, thinking he won't notice? Or will she do the right thing, like anyone with a conscience? He steps into the restroom, washing his hands under cold water, his mind a tangle of thoughts. If she takes it, what does that prove? That he's right to distrust everyone? Or that his wealth has warped the way he sees the world? When Ethan returns, he almost holds his breath. The wallet is gone. A wave of disappointment surges, but he forces himself to stay calm, sitting down and pretending to study the menu. From the corner of his eye, he sees Emma chatting with another patron, her smile as bright as ever. No hint of secrecy, no trace of guilt. Then, suddenly, she approaches, holding his wallet. "Sir, I found this on your table," she says, her voice soft but firm. You must have accidentally left it behind. Ethan takes the wallet, his heart skipping a beat. No hesitation, no sneaky glance at the cash inside. She simply hands it back, as if it's the most natural thing in the world. He studies her, searching for a sign, a furrowed brow, a fleeting look of temptation. But there's nothing. Emma returns to her work, serving other customers with the same unwavering kindness, no matter who they are. Ethan sips his coffee, its bitterness no match for the confusion swirling inside him. Is this kindness real? As a single dad millionaire, he's used to flattery and fawning, but Emma doesn't do that. She doesn't treat him specially, doesn't try to impress. She's just herself. The thought intrigues him, but it also deepens his suspicion. No one can be this good without a motive, can they? When he pays the bill, Ethan leaves a generous tip, but his eyes stay fixed on Emma. She smiles her thanks, but there's no excitement, no surprise. She simply nods, as if it's just another day at work. Ethan leaves the diner, his mind spinning. The first test was too easy, too simple. He needs to know more. Who is Emma Harper? Is her kindness the real thing, or a carefully crafted mask? As a millionaire dad, Ethan has learned to trust no one at first glance. But this time, something feels different. A faint glimmer of hope flickers within him. He resolves to return, not just to test her, but to uncover the person behind that smile. What awaits him in his next visits? A secret, or a truth that could change everything? Weeks have passed since Ethan Caldwell first stepped into the Moonlight Diner, yet the image of Emma Harper's genuine smile still haunts his mind. As a single dad millionaire, Ethan is used to controlling everything, from multi-million-dollar deals to the rhythm of his own life. But Emma, that unassuming waitress, unsettles him. Her kindness, the way she returned his wallet without a moment's hesitation, sparks both curiosity and suspicion. He can't believe anyone could be so honest without an ulterior motive. So, Ethan resolves to return, not just to test her again, but to uncover the true person behind those warm, captivating eyes. The little diner in suburban Los Angeles remains unchanged, with its hazy neon glow and simple charm. But each time he steps inside, his heart beats just a little faster. Ethan settles into his familiar booth, watching Emma move between tables. She treats every customer with unwavering kindness, from the truck driver to the elderly woman dining alone. No favoritism, no trace of flattery. Even though Ethan, a millionaire dad, stands out in his expensive suit. That day, he orders toast and coffee, but his mind is elsewhere, brewing a new plan. He wants to pull Emma out of this diner, not just to test her further, but to see if her goodness holds up in a more complex world. When Emma brings the bill, Ethan locks eyes with her, his voice low but sincere. Emma, I'd like to offer you a job. Be my personal assistant. You have the qualities I need, integrity and dedication. Emma's eyes widen, a mix of surprise and doubt flickering across her face. I'm not sure I'm qualified, Mr. Caldwell, she replies, her voice hesitant. But Ethan smiles, masking the nervous anticipation in his chest. He knows she'll say yes, and he wants to see her in his world. On her first day at Ethan's sleek office, Emma feels like she's stepped into another universe. Sparkling glass walls, modern furnishings, and the frenetic buzz of a tech empire overwhelm her. As a single dad millionaire, Ethan runs everything with precision, but he carries a loneliness only those closest to him can sense. Emma, in her simple blouse and familiar smile, seems out of place here. Yet she quickly proves her worth. She organizes Ethan's schedule, takes notes in meetings, and handles small details with astonishing care. Ethan watches her from afar, his heart stirring each time she smiles at a colleague or patiently answers a silly question. But he can't shake his suspicion. Is her kindness just a facade, or is she truly different? One afternoon, Ethan brings his daughter Lily to the office. The 6-year-old, with her curly hair and big round eyes, is the only light in his life. As a millionaire dad, Ethan loves Lily more than anything, but his work often pulls him away, leaving her with babysitters. That day, Lily sits in a corner, drawing with a sad look in her eyes. Emma notices immediately. She kneels beside her, her voice soft as a summer breeze. "Hey, I love your drawing. Want to tell me about it? Lily looks up, her face brightening. In that moment, Ethan, flipping through documents, freezes. He sees Emma talking to Lily, effortless and sincere. His daughter giggles, a rare sound since her mother left years ago. Ethan's heart warms, but a part of him stays guarded. Is Emma trying to win him over, a single dad millionaire, through his daughter? To test her, Ethan begins small experiments. One day, he deliberately leaves a few $100 bills under a stack of papers on his desk, right in front of Emma. He steps out, pretending to take a call, but watches her through the frosted glass. Emma spots the money but carefully tucks it into an envelope, leaving it on his desk with a note. Mr. Caldwell, I think you forgot this cash. Ethan takes the envelope, his pulse racing. No hesitation, no temptation. She passes his test again, but instead of satisfaction, he feels more confused. Why does she never falter? Is this kindness real, or is he falling for a masterfully crafted act? Another time, Ethan leaves an expensive watch, a gift from a business partner, on the conference table after a meeting. He walks out but lingers by the door, peering through a crack. Emma picks up the watch, examines it briefly, then places it in Ethan's desk drawer, locking it securely. When he returns, she smiles lightly. Mr. Caldwell, I put your watch in the drawer. It seemed important. Ethan nods, hiding his surprise. As a single dad millionaire, he's used to people exploiting his carelessness, but Emma is different. She doesn't seek attention or reward. She just does the right thing, time and again. These small moments begin to change Ethan. Each day working with Emma, he feels a warmth he'd long forgotten. She's not just an excellent assistant, she brings balance to his chaotic life. She reminds him of Lily's school events, suggests creative ideas for business projects, and keeps smiling despite mounting work pressure. One evening, as they stay late to finish a report, Emma casually shares a piece of her life. She grew up in a struggling family, working part-time to pay for college, yet she never complains. Life can be tough, but if you're kind, things have a way of working out, she says, her eyes sparkling with quiet conviction. Ethan stares at her, his heart pounding. Her words are simple but strike a deep chord within him. Yet suspicion clings to Ethan like a shadow. As a millionaire dad, he's seen too much deceit. He wonders if Emma is hiding something. She's too perfect, too honest. No one can be like that without a motive, right? He starts noticing small details. How she avoids talking about her family. How her gaze sometimes drifts when her past comes up. Is she concealing a secret? Ethan decides to push his tests further. One day, he deliberately leaves a large check in a folder marked payable to bearer. He leaves the office, his heart racing, wondering if this time Emma will keep it to solve her own struggles. When he returns, the check is still there, with another note. Mr. Caldwell, you should be more careful with these. Ethan grips the note, a mix of relief and frustration surging through him. She passed again, but why can't he fully trust her? As days pass, Ethan realizes he's changing. Emma doesn't just impress him. She stirs his heart in ways he never expected. Her moments with Lily, the joy she brings to the office, and her unshakable sincerity make him long to be closer to her. But every time he wants to let go of his doubts, a voice in his head warns him. As a single dad millionaire, he can't afford to be vulnerable. He needs certainty. Who is Emma Harper, and what lies behind her kindness? One evening, as he leaves the office, his eyes catch an old photo in a drawer. A clue from the past, a secret he never anticipated. What awaits him, and is Emma truly the person he's been searching for? Ethan Caldwell's office sits atop a gleaming glass tower in downtown Los Angeles, where the cold glow of LED lights sharpens the air with tension. As a single dad millionaire, Ethan runs his tech empire with unyielding precision. But lately, his thoughts are consumed by Emma Harper. His new assistant, with her genuine smile and unwavering dedication, has brought warmth to his life. Yet she also stirs doubts he can't silence. As a millionaire dad, Ethan has learned to trust no one, and though Emma has passed every test, from the forgotten wallet to the expensive watch, he can't shake the feeling that she's hiding something. Each time she smiles, he wonders if it's real or just a carefully crafted act to get closer to his wealth. That day, Emma is organizing documents in the office, her hair tied high, her eyes focused. Ethan watches her from his desk, his heart torn between admiration and caution. She works with remarkable care, noting every detail, but he can't miss the flicker of exhaustion on her face. There's something she's not saying, and Ethan, a single-dad millionaire accustomed to analyzing everything, is determined to find out. When Emma steps out to grab coffee, he overhears a hushed conversation in the hallway. It's Sarah, Emma's best friend, who occasionally stops by to chat. Ethan doesn't mean to eavesdrop, but Sarah's worried voice stops him cold. "Emma, you can't keep working yourself to the bone like this," Sarah says, her tone thick with concern. "The tuition fees, your mom's medical bills. You need a way out, not more pressure from that billionaire." The words hit Ethan like a blade. Financial struggles? Emma never mentioned them, always maintaining her optimism despite late hours and complex tasks. But now, hearing Sarah, his suspicions roar to life. As a millionaire dad, he's seen too many people hide their true intentions behind a kind exterior. Is Emma using this job to get to his fortune? The thought stings, not because he fears losing money, but because he'd started to hope she was different. He wants to trust her, but the bitter lessons of a single-dad millionaire remind him that kindness often comes with a price. To test her again, Ethan devises a bolder challenge. He pulls a check from his drawer, writing a sum large enough to erase the financial burdens Sarah mentioned. He leaves it on the desk, nestled among papers, with "payable to bearer" scrawled in bold black ink. Then he stands, pretending to take an urgent call, and slips out of the office. His heart pounds as he lingers outside, watching through the frosted glass. Emma returns, coffee in hand, and her eyes catch the check. She pauses, her brows knitting slightly, as if weighing something. Ethan holds his breath, a part of him hoping she'll take it, to prove he's right, to end this fragile hope. But then, Emma does the unexpected. She carefully lifts the check, slips it into an envelope, and places it on Ethan's desk with a note. "Mr. Caldwell, you forgot this check. Please be more careful." When Ethan returns, he clutches the note, his mind a storm of emotions. Emma has passed yet another test, but instead of relief, he feels more lost than ever. Why didn't she take the check, when it could have changed her life? As a single-dad millionaire, he's used to people seizing opportunities, but Emma refused. She resumes her work, her focus unbroken, as if nothing happened. Ethan watches her, searching for a hint of deceit, but finds only unshakable sincerity. The realization unsettles him, both awe-inspiring and terrifying. If she's truly honest, then he's the one who's wrong, blinded by suspicion, warped by wealth into someone who can't trust anyone. But the drama doesn't end there. At the end of the day, Sarah appears in the office, her face etched with worry. Emma is packing up when Sarah pulls her aside, her voice low but sharp. Ethan, reviewing documents, overhears by chance. "Emma, you need to be careful with guys like Ethan Caldwell," Sarah warns, her eyes cold. "Billionaires like him always have an agenda. You think he hired you because you're good? Or because he wants something from you?" The words strike Emma like a blow. She freezes, her heart aching. She'd always believed Ethan valued her dedication, but now, doubt takes root. Why did he choose her, a girl with no degree or experience, to be his personal assistant? Is he playing a game she doesn't understand? Emma glances at Ethan, seated at his desk, his eyes fixed on his computer screen. She recalls the times he forgot his wallet, cash, watch, and now the check. At first, she thought it was carelessness, but now she wonders if they were tests. As a millionaire dad, Ethan has every right to be cautious, but the idea that he doesn't trust her cuts deep. She's worked tirelessly, treated him and his daughter Lily with nothing but sincerity. But if Sarah's right, if Ethan's just testing her, what does her kindness mean? She feels trapped in a game with rules she can't grasp. Ethan senses the shift in Emma's demeanor. She's still efficient, but her smile no longer shines as brightly. She speaks less, her eyes sometimes avoiding his. He wants to ask, to explain, but his own doubts hold him back. As a single-dad millionaire, he can't afford vulnerability. If Emma has an agenda, her returning the check might just be part of a bigger plan. But deep down, he knows he's fooling himself. He's seen her play with Lily, bring joy to the office, and work tirelessly despite her fatigue. She's not like those who've betrayed him, yet he can't let go of the fear that she might. One afternoon, as Emma prepares to leave, she pauses at Ethan's desk. She looks at him, her eyes brimming with conflict. "Mr. Caldwell, I hope you see I'm doing my best at this job," she says, her voice soft but resolute. "I just want to do things right." Ethan nods, hiding the guilt swelling inside him. He wants to say he trusts her, that he admires her, but the words stick in his throat. As Emma walks away, he grips the note she left with the check, feeling like he's lost something precious. Sarah lingers by the door, her gaze icy as she locks eyes with Ethan. She knows he overheard their conversation, and she has no intention of letting him keep testing her friend. But what lies ahead for Emma and Ethan? A deeper, more profound secret is quietly closing in, ready to upend everything they thought they knew about each other. A stormy evening engulfs Ethan Caldwell's lavish mansion on the outskirts of Los Angeles, the air as heavy as his troubled mind. As a single dad millionaire, Ethan has crafted a perfect life for his daughter Lily, but lately, his soul is tangled in turmoil over Emma Harper. The assistant with unshakable kindness has stirred his heart, yet she also fuels doubts he can't silence. After Sarah, Emma's best friend, warned her about billionaires like Ethan, their relationship has grown strained. Emma still works diligently, but her eyes now carry a hint of wariness, as if she's questioning whether Ethan truly trusts her. Ethan, a millionaire dad haunted by past betrayals, can't shake the feeling that Emma is hiding something. He longs to draw closer, but every step forward is restrained by his fear of being hurt. That night, Ethan invites Emma to his home to finish an urgent report. The sprawling mansion, with its glass walls framing the raging storm outside, only amplifies his loneliness. Emma sits at the dining table, laptop open, her eyes fixed on the documents. Ethan watches her from afar, his heart wavering between admiration and suspicion. She's still the Emma from those early days, sincere, dedicated, but the distance between them is palpable. He wants to break the invisible wall, to tell her he values her, but the words catch in his throat. As a single dad millionaire, he's used to controlling everything, but with Emma he feels powerless. As she types, he realizes he doesn't just want her as an assistant, he wants her in his life. But can he trust her? Or is it all an illusion? Suddenly, the doorbell pierces the roar of the rain, sharp and unexpected. Ethan frowns, not expecting anyone at this hour. He opens the door to find James Turner, a figure from his past. James, once Ethan's close business partner, stands before him, his weathered face drenched, his expression grim. "We need to talk, Ethan," James says, his voice low and icy. Ethan hesitates, glancing at Emma, still working at the table. He doesn't want her to hear this conversation, but James strides in without waiting for an invitation. As a millionaire dad, Ethan has mastered hiding his emotions, but James's presence unnerves him. This man knows too much about the mistakes Ethan has tried to bury. James settles onto the sofa, his sharp eyes scanning the room before landing on Emma. "Who's she?" he asks, his tone laced with suspicion. Ethan introduces her briefly, offering no further explanation. Emma looks up, offering a polite smile, but James doesn't reciprocate. He turns to Ethan, his voice cutting. "She's Michael Harper's daughter, isn't she? I'd recognize those eyes anywhere." The words hit Ethan like a punch. He stares at Emma, his heart pounding. Michael Harper, Emma's father, is a name Ethan has tried to forget. A former best friend torn apart by a failed business deal. Ethan never imagined Emma was connected to Michael, but now, pieces start falling into place. As a single dad millionaire, he's used to controlling information, but this secret is beyond his grasp. Emma stands, her face pale. "You knew my father?" she asks, her voice trembling. James gives a bitter laugh, his eyes dark with resentment. "Knew him? Ethan didn't just know him, he ruined his life." The accusation slices through the air like a blade. Emma turns to Ethan, her eyes brimming with confusion and hurt. "Is that true?" she asks, her voice soft but sharp. Ethan feels the ground crumble beneath him. He wants to explain, to say it's not as simple as James claims, but the truth is, he's guilty. Years ago, he pushed Michael into a risky venture, a project Ethan believed would revolutionize tech. When it collapsed, Michael lost everything: his money, his reputation, his trust. Ethan, A millionaire dad, even then, moved forward. But Michael retreated from the business world, living simply until his death. Ethan takes a deep breath, struggling to keep his voice steady. "Emma, it was a mistake. I never meant to hurt your father," he says, his eyes heavy with regret. But Emma shakes her head, tears glistening in her eyes. "You knew him, and you said nothing. You let me work for you, let me trust you, while you hid this." Her words stab at Ethan's heart. He wants to explain that he didn't know she was Michael's daughter, that he only learned it from James. But the words won't come. James stands, his gaze dripping with contempt. "She deserves the truth, Ethan. She's not a pawn in your game." The words make Emma turn away, her face streaked with tears. She walks out into the storm, leaving Ethan and James in a suffocating silence. Ethan clenches his fists, guilt and anger surging within him. As a single-dad millionaire, he's faced crises before, but this time, he feels helpless. He turns to James, his voice sharp. "Why did you do this? What do you want?" James smirks, his eyes bitter. "I just wanted her to know the truth. Michael was my friend, and you betrayed him." Ethan wants to argue, to say he tried to make amends, that he quietly supported Michael from afar, but he knows words are meaningless now. Emma is gone, and the trust between them is fractured. He stands by the window, staring into the howling rain. The image of Emma walking away haunts him, a piercing ache in his chest. In the days that follow, Emma returns to the office, but she keeps her distance from Ethan. She works efficiently, but her radiant smile is gone, replaced by curt nods and brief exchanges. Ethan feels the loss, not just of an assistant, but of the person who brought light to his life. As a millionaire dad, he's used to buying anything he wants, but he can't buy Emma's trust. He tries to talk to her, but each time she responds politely and turns away. "I just want to do my job well, Mr. Caldwell," she says once, her voice cold. The words make Ethan realize how far he's pushed her. He wants to fix it, but how, when he's the one who hid the truth? James doesn't reappear, but his words linger like a shadow over Ethan. He begins to question if he was truly wrong. He thought hiding his past with Michael protected Emma, but now he sees it was just a way to protect himself. As a single-dad millionaire, he's built walls around his heart, but Emma made them crumble. Now, with her distant, he feels emptier than ever. He misses her moments with Lily, the joy she brought to the office, the way she returned the check without hesitation. She's the most genuine person he's ever met, but his suspicions ruined it. One evening, alone in his office, Ethan opens a drawer and finds an old photo, a relic from the days when he and Michael were best friends. He grips it tightly, regret flooding him. He knows he must face Emma, tell her the whole truth, but will she forgive him? Their bond is fractured, and a deeper, more profound secret waits to be unveiled. What lies in Ethan's past, and can Emma overcome her pain to see the man he truly is? The old library in Ethan Caldwell's mansion lies tucked away at the end of long corridors, where warm golden light from antique lamps spills over dark wooden bookshelves. The air is still, filled only with the soft rustle of turning pages, and Emma Harper's gentle breaths. As a single-dad millionaire, Ethan rarely enters this room, a sanctuary for relics of a past he longs to forget but can't discard. Emma, now his assistant, has been tasked with organizing old documents, a job she approaches with her usual meticulous care. But since that painful confrontation in the storm, when James revealed Ethan's role in hurting her father, their relationship has grown fragile. Emma remains dedicated, but her eyes no longer sparkle, and Ethan, a millionaire dad, feels the ache of losing the closeness they once shared. Emma quietly sorts through dusty files, her mind a tangle of emotions. She's still grappling with the truth that Ethan knew her father, Michael Harper, and was tied to the failure that altered his life. As a single-dad millionaire, Ethan may have the right to keep secrets, but his silence feels like a betrayal. She trusted him, opened her heart to him and his daughter Lily, only to learn he hid a piece of his past. Each time she sees him, she wants to ask more, to understand why, but pain holds her back. She fears the truth will only make things worse. That day, as she opens an old wooden box, a photograph slips out, making her heart skip a beat. The image shows two young men, beaming under bright sunlight. One is her father, Michael, with the familiar smile she'll never forget. The other is Ethan, younger, carefree, but unmistakably him. Emma clutches the photo, her breath quickening. Her father and Ethan weren't just acquaintances, they were friends, close enough to share moments like this. Why didn't he tell her? Why did he let her work for him without revealing this connection? As a millionaire dad, Ethan might overlook small details. But this isn't small. This is part of her life, her family. She stares at the photo, memories of her father flooding back, his stories of working with an ambitious friend, his choice to leave the business world for a simpler life. She always thought they were just tales, but now she realizes that friend was Ethan. Betrayal surges within her, mingled with curiosity. She needs the truth, no matter how much it hurts. Holding the photo, Emma steps out of the library, her gaze resolute. She finds Ethan in his office, poring over documents. He looks up, and when he sees the photo in her hand, his face pales. "Emma, I can explain," he says, his voice trembling with regret. But Emma shakes her head, her tone soft but sharp. "You knew my father, Ethan. You were his best friend. Why didn't you tell me?" Ethan takes a deep breath, his eyes heavy with burden. He stands, stepping closer but keeping a cautious distance, as if afraid she'll turn away. "I didn't know you were Michael's daughter," he says, his voice low. "When James said it, I was as shocked as you. I wanted to tell you, but I didn't know where to start." Emma stares at him, her heart a storm of emotions. She wants to believe him, but the hurt lingers. Ethan sighs, his gaze distant as he begins to explain. Years ago, he and Michael were inseparable, dreaming of changing the world through technology. Ethan, a single-dad millionaire fueled by ambition, convinced Michael to pour everything into a major project. But it failed, dragging Michael into financial ruin. Ethan tried to fix it, but Michael chose to walk away, abandoning the business world for a quiet life. "I was wrong, Emma," Ethan says, his voice thick with remorse. "I pushed him too far, and I lost a friend. I've never forgiven myself." His confession feels like a cold wind, making Emma tremble. She sees the sincerity in his eyes, but also the pain he's carried all these years. Emma sits, the photo still in her hands. She remembers her father, who never spoke ill of anyone, despite their struggles. He mentioned his old friend with fondness, tinged with regret. Now she understands why. Ethan wasn't a betrayer, but a man who made a mistake and lived with its weight. As a millionaire dad, he could have buried his past, but he's chosen to face her, even if it risks everything. She looks at him, her gaze softening. "My father never blamed you," she says quietly. "He just wanted a meaningful life." Ethan nods, his eyes glistening with emotion. "I wish I'd learned that sooner," he replies, his voice low. That moment marks a shift. Emma doesn't forgive him instantly, but she begins to see Ethan differently. Not as a single-dad millionaire with a shadowed past, but as a man haunted by regret. He sees her anew, too. Not as someone to test, but as someone who brings hope. To make amends, Ethan proposes a charity project, a scholarship fund for struggling students, inspired by Michael Harper. "I want to do something to honor your father," he says, his eyes earnest. Emma hesitates, but the thought of carrying on her father's legacy sways her. They start working together, spending hours planning, researching, and contacting organizations. Through late-night work sessions, trust slowly rebuilds. Emma sees Ethan not just as a millionaire dad with wealth, but as someone who pours his heart into helping others. He listens to her ideas, values her passion, and sometimes smiles when she shares stories about her father. Ethan, in turn, is captivated by Emma's resilience. She works tirelessly, despite her family's burdens, and holds on to kindness despite life's hardships. One evening, in the library's golden glow, Emma casually mentions her dream of opening a community center for underprivileged kids. Ethan looks at her, his heart stirring. "You'll do it, Emma," he says firmly. "And I want to help." These moments draw their hearts closer. Ethan opens up about Lily, his fears as a single father, and Emma shares tales of her childhood. They laugh, trade dreams, and slowly, suspicion fades. As a single-dad millionaire, Ethan once thought love was a luxury, but with Emma, he dares to hope. She's not just his assistant. She makes him want to be a better man. Emma, though still scarred by the past, feels the shift too. Ethan isn't perfect, but his genuine desire to make amends earns her respect. But as trust grows, a bigger secret looms. While organizing files for the scholarship fund, Emma finds an old letter hidden in a folder. Handwritten by her father, it's addressed to Ethan from years ago. The trembling words speak of gratitude, of a gift Ethan quietly sent to her family. Emma reads, her heart racing. Ethan wasn't just the man who caused her father's downfall. He was also the one who helped them in secret, despite her father's refusal to accept it publicly. The revelation stuns her, and she knows she must confront Ethan again. What lies behind this act, and will this truth change everything between them? A storm of emotions is brewing, ready to lay bare all that's been hidden. The Los Angeles skyline burned with the fierce glow of sunset, casting a golden haze over the sleek glass office of the Bright Horizon Foundation. Inside, the hum of purpose filled the air. Papers shuffled, phones buzzed softly, and the faint clink of coffee mugs punctuated the quiet determination of the staff. At the heart of it all stood Ethan Caldwell, his sharp gray suit a contrast to the warm light spilling through the floor-to-ceiling windows. His dark hair was slightly tousled, as if he'd run his hands through it during a long day, and his green eyes carried a weight that belied his 38 years. To the world, he was a single dad and a self-made millionaire, a man who'd built a tech empire and now poured his wealth into charity. But to those in this room, he was something more. A quiet force, steady and unshakable. Emma Larson sat across the conference table, her auburn hair catching the fading light as she scribbled notes. At 26, she was the foundation's rising star, her passion for helping underprivileged kids matched only by her relentless drive. She'd joined Bright Horizon 2 years ago, fresh from grad school, and had quickly become indispensable. Her hazel eyes flicked up, catching Ethan's gaze for a fleeting moment before she looked away, a familiar tension simmering beneath her professional smile. They'd clashed often, her bold ideas against his cautious pragmatism, but there was an unspoken respect, and lately, something deeper. Something neither had dared name. Lily Tran, the foundation's operations manager, leaned back in her chair, her sharp wit cutting through the room's intensity. All right, Ethan, Emma's scholarship program is projected to fund 500 kids next year, but we need to lock in the budget tonight. No more stalling. At 32, Lily was the glue that held the team together, her no-nonsense demeanor softened by a quick laugh and a knack for reading people. She glanced between Ethan and Emma, sensing the undercurrent, but said nothing. James Whitaker, the foundation's legal counsel, sat quietly at the table's end. His silver hair and lined face spoke of decades in the field, but his eyes gleamed with a sharpness that missed nothing. At 60, he was Ethan's confidant, the only one who knew the full scope of his past. James adjusted his glasses, his silence heavy with anticipation, as if he were waiting for the moment to drop a bombshell. The meeting droned on, numbers and logistics swirling in the air, but Emma's mind was elsewhere. She'd overheard a cryptic conversation between Ethan and James earlier that day, something about the promise and her father. It gnawed at her, a puzzle she couldn't solve. Her father, a high school teacher who died when she was 15, had always spoken of a friend who'd vowed to look out for her. But that was years ago, a faded memory. Why would it come up now? As the team finalized the scholarship budget, Ethan cleared his throat, his voice low but commanding. Before we wrap up, there's something I need to say. The room stilled. Lily raised an eyebrow, and Emma's pen froze mid-sentence. James leaned forward, a faint smile tugging at his lips. Ethan's gaze settled on Emma, steady and unyielding. Emma, your work here has been extraordinary. This scholarship program, it's personal to you, isn't it? She nodded, confused. It's for kids like me. Kids who lose a parent, who can't afford college. I got lucky with my own scholarship. I want to pay it forward. Ethan's jaw tightened, and for a moment, he looked almost vulnerable. You didn't get lucky, he said softly. Your scholarship wasn't random. The words hung in the air, heavy and electric. Emma frowned, her heart picking up speed. What do you mean? Ethan glanced at James, who gave a subtle nod, as if granting permission. Ethan took a breath, his voice steady but laced with emotion. When you were 14, your father reached out to me. We were friends in college, before I started my company. He knew he was sick, and he made me promise to look after you if anything happened to him. I swore I would. Emma's breath caught, her mind reeling. You knew my dad? Ethan nodded. After he passed, I set up a trust to fund your education, anonymously. The scholarship that got you through college, that was from me. I've been watching over you ever since, making sure you had what you needed. When you applied to Bright Horizon, I didn't plan for us to work together, but I saw your passion, your fire. I knew you belonged here. The room was silent, the weight of Ethan's words sinking in. Emma's eyes widened, her hands trembling as she processed the revelation. You've been… what, my guardian angel? All this time? Lily let out a low whistle, breaking the tension. Well, damn, Ethan, that's next level. Emma's voice shook, a mix of shock and anger rising. Why didn't you tell me? All these years you let me think I was alone. You let me struggle, fight for every scrap, when you were pulling strings behind the scenes. Ethan's face softened, but his eyes held firm. I wanted you to become who you are. Strong, independent, unstoppable. Your father didn't want you to feel indebted to anyone. He wanted you to earn your way. But I was always there, Emma. I always will be. The words hit her like a tidal wave, unraveling years of solitude, of wondering why she'd made it when so many others hadn't. Tears welled in her eyes, but she blinked them back, her voice barely a whisper. You should have told me. James spoke up, his tone calm but deliberate. There's more. All eyes turned to him, and he leaned forward, his hands clasped. Ethan didn't just fund your scholarship, Emma. The Bright Horizon Foundation itself. It was inspired by your father's dream. He believed every kid deserved a chance, no matter their circumstances. Ethan built this place to honor him. And you. Emma's breath hitched, her world tilting. The foundation, their mission, their fight. It was all tied to her father? To her? She looked at Ethan, searching his face for answers, and found only raw honesty. The man she'd argued with, admired, and secretly cared for was more than a millionaire philanthropist. He was the keeper of her father's legacy, the silent guardian of her life. The room seemed to shrink, the sunset's glow wrapping them in a cocoon of warmth. Emma stood, her chair scraping softly against the floor. I don't know what to say, she admitted, her voice cracking. This is a lot. Ethan rose, stepping closer, his presence steadying her. You don't have to say anything. Just know that I believe in you, always have, and I want you to lead this foundation with me. Not as my employee, but as my partner. The word partner hung between them, layered with meaning. Emma's heart raced, a spark of something new igniting in her chest. She'd spent years guarding herself, building walls to keep the world at bay. But Ethan had been there all along, not just in the shadows, but in the light of this place they'd built together. Lily, sensing the moment Lily cleared her throat, her voice teasing. Okay, you two. Enough with the heart-to-heart. Are we finalizing this budget, or what? Emma laughed, the tension breaking, and Ethan's lips curved into a rare smile. We're done here, he said, his eyes still on Emma. Let's pick this up tomorrow. As the team dispersed, Emma lingered, her gaze drifting to the city beyond the windows. The sunset had faded to a soft purple, the first stars piercing the sky. Ethan stepped beside her, his shoulder brushing hers, a quiet comfort in his nearness. I'm still processing, she said, her voice soft. But thank you. For everything. He turned to her, his expression unguarded. I'd do it all again. For you. The words were simple, but they carried a promise, one that echoed her father's love and Ethan's unwavering devotion. Emma felt a warmth spread through her, a certainty she hadn't known she needed. She reached for his hand, her fingers intertwining with his, and for the first time in years, she didn't feel alone. 6 months later, the Bright Horizon Foundation had grown, its scholarship program reaching thousands of kids across the country. Emma and Ethan stood side by side at the annual gala, their hands clasped as they announced a new initiative, a mentorship program for at-risk youth, inspired by Emma's own journey. The room erupted in applause, but their eyes were on each other, a shared vision binding them closer than ever. They were partners now, in every sense. Their days were filled with late-night strategy sessions, laughter over coffee, and quiet moments watching the sunset from the office that had become their second home. Ethan's daughter, Mia, adored Emma, calling her the coolest stepmom ever, and the three of them spent weekends exploring the city, building a family grounded in love. As they left the gala, Emma paused, looking up at the stars. "Dad would be proud," she whispered. Ethan wrapped an arm around her, his voice low. "He is. And so am I." Their legacy was just beginning, a beacon of compassion, lit by a promise kept and a love that would endure. The Los Angeles skyline glowed behind them, a testament to the light they'd brought into the world, together.